Tonight we're going to do, and I know it's January, Thanksgiving casserole. It just sounded good. So I'm going to use this rotisserie chicken. You can use a regular rotisserie, I just using this because it's easier. Also, you could cook up some chicken. I've got garlic powder, black pepper, Badia Complete, chicken stock, stuffing of your choice. I just happen to have the herb here, so we're using that. Golden mushroom, condensed soup, and cream of chicken with herbs. An entire stick of butter, but that's going to be divided into two different places. You could use fresh broccoli. I'm just grabbed a bag of steamed broccoli, Parmesan, and I'm finally going to use up, I think, the rest of that sour cream. We're going to throw this together, and it's just going to be a quick, easy dinner tonight. Inside of the bowl, I've got half of a stick of butter, and we're going to do 1.5 cups. I got to get a little bit more of chicken stock, and we're going to put that in the bowl, and then we're going to microwave that until it's good and the butter's melted and it's somewhat hot. Okay, I got the full amount, so 1.5 cups and a half stick of butter, and this is going in the microwave. Once this comes out of the microwave, and if you notice, I switched bowls. I needed the smaller bowl for this and the bigger bowl for the other, but this will work. So just give this a mix, and we're just hydrating it just like you would if you were making stuffing. All right, put this to the side. Let's grab our other big bowl. Pretend it's clean. Add the chicken. I was gonna do 2 different meals with this, and I decided never mind, we're just gonna make the full batch of this. And I just preheated my oven to 350. This way we have plenty for lunches this week. And as I said, this sounded good, and it has been so cold. We're finally warming up here in Indiana. We're up to a whopping 13 degrees today. So it's a heat wave. We're actually going to be up to 30 by Friday, and by next week we're going to be, they claim, in the 40s. We'll see. So I've got this. We're going to put in the sour cream. Pour in your golden mushroom soup. I'll scrape these out better. Pour in the cream of chicken and herb. And then we are going to season this with some Badia Complete, some garlic powder, and some pepper. If I open it from the right side, that would be helpful. And we're just going to get this all mixed up. I've got this all nice and mixed up, and I've got my broccoli, so we're just going to add the broccoli in and give that a mix. And that's really all there is to this. And we're going to put it in the baking dish, and we're going to layer everything in. And the nice thing about this is I just think this will be nice and warm. As I said, we've been cold, and even the people in the South have been cold. My aunt said she wasn't coming out of her house, and she lives in South Carolina. They got snow. Not a ton this time. She's in upstate. But it is one of those things. It's winter, and you want something warm. Okay, I've got this greased. And I only greased it because the other day I didn't grease something and it stuck. So let's pour this in. And I did chop up some of that broccoli so that it was in smaller bits. But as I said, you could also use fresh. We're just going to get a nice layer of this down. I thought these flavors just really sounded good. I think I'm just hungry. That happens too. The final step on this, well, not the final, is it calls for Parmesan. I don't have any fresh, so we're just going to shake on some of this, because I always have this in the refrigerator. And take your stuffing that is now stuffing, and you're going to drop this by spoonfuls all over. Now that you've got it all spread out, you're going to take that last bit of butter and you're just going to break it and cut it. I cut it into pieces, and you're just going to take it over the top of this. And this will melt in as you're cooking. Like I said, my oven is preheated to 350, and it's going to bake for about 30 to 40 minutes until it's all nice and hot and ooey gooey. And this is going to be nice and crunchy. And here we go. It is nice and bubbly, and oh, does it smell delicious. Thanks for joining me. This is about 11 o'clock in the morning. It's a little later than I planned on starting this, but it's what it is. So we'll probably start this on high and knock it down to low about halfway through the day. I'm going to make an Italian drip beef sandwiches. So I've got a rather large, this is almost a 3-pound chuck roast. This is way more than we need for this. So this is going to make at least, I'll probably take the rest of the meat and freeze it, and then we'll have this again. So this is just an easy way that I can double this meal and use it again. I've got some, just want to get this out of my refrigerator. We always like the pepperoncinis and the juice, so I'll put some of that in there. Not enough to make it hot, just enough to give it some flavor. And it is a lot of meat, but I've also made this way too hot before. I've got some pepper, some butter, Italian seasoning mix, and au jus. I can sear this. I'm not going to. I was going to in the beginning, and I thought, nah, it turns out every time without it. So we're just going to throw this in the crock pot, and I'm going to get a crock pot liner, and we'll get started. I did forget to do this. So I just cut half of an onion, and we're just going to put this in the bottom. I just like the meat to sit on top of something. And the onions will melt down anyways, so we'll just have some onions in the meat. We like it that way anyways. If you don't have to do this. You could also take, and I've done this in another video where we did a rotisserie chicken in the crock pot, and we put foil balls underneath to raise the chicken up so that it wasn't sitting in the juices. So you could always do that too. This way, it's raised up just a little bit in the crock pot. Got the meat in. We're going to take what's left of the pepperoncinis. Now, if you like this spicier, then pour the whole jar in. I mean, I've done that before. The boys loved it, and I had something else for dinner. So, that being said, I want to be able to eat this. So that's kind of where we're at with that. I've got some pepper, which I've already peppered the other side. We're going to get pepper on this side. Take your Italian seasoning. I did forget another ingredient. God, I'm bad today. I gotta get some beef broth out. But just put the Italian seasoning all over the top. Yeah, actually, we're gonna omit. I'll look and see how it's doing. We don't really have to put beef broth. When you see how much butter I'm putting in here, I don't think we'll do it. So I went ahead and put this whole package of au jus. This is just going to help flavor the gravy or the sauce at the end. And then we're going to take our stick of butter. I could alternate this with a stick of butter or a half stick of butter, half cup of beef broth. Just pick your poison. So we're just going to do this. I figure this is salty enough with those seasoning packets. It's why I didn't add salt, and that's why I'm also not adding beef stock to this. We're going to cook this on high for a couple hours and then drop it down to low. So, forgot to tell you, I was also doing garlic in this. So I've already put 2 nice sized cloves, and I'm adding just 2 more. And now we're going to turn it on. Roast is out, and I'm going to shred it. And this is the perfect day because, excuse my mess and the cat's area, we have snow. Again. It could really stop this stuff. Well, it ended up being a nice amount. So this is going to go back in the crock pot to stay warm until we make our sandwiches. So I've taken the French rolls and I've just put some butter on them, and I'm going to throw them under a broiler and get them nice and toasty, and then we'll put some cheese on and the meat and we'll have dinner. I've got them nice and toasted, and then I'm going to put some cheese on each one. I'm going to put a little bit of Munster, and a little bit of provolone cheese. And that's how they look after we've got the cheese melted, and I'm gonna put some meat on. And that's how the meat looks after we've gotten it all shredded. Nice and juicy. And it's all finished, and that's what we're having for dinner with some French fries. Thanks for joining me. Tonight, I'm going to make a Philly cheesesteak pizza. So I'm going to take the roast that we had from last night that I have shredded. But I originally had this on the menu plan without thinking about the roast. And I have these quick steaks, or the shaved steak you can buy in the meat department if you don't have a roast to use. So these are something I always keep on hand because we just never know when we'll use them. And they're in my deep freezer. And that's, all honesty, what I was going to use. So I'm going to heat this up because there is some fat in here from last night. But that is a nice size container, so I don't even know if we'll use all of it. I'm going to cut up pepper, onions. I've got some mushrooms. We're going to use some Alfredo sauce. I've got a pizza crust that I bought. I worked today, so this is one of these. I try to keep stuff like this just for quick, easy nights because I just got home and it's already 7:30. And I've got a package of fresh mozzarella slices and some provolone. So I'm just going to do a combination of both of those. I want to get this out of the refrigerator. I've had it for a little while. And then this. So we're going to throw all of this together. I've gone ahead and cut up the peppers, the onions, and the mushrooms. And I'm just sauteing it all together. I mean, if you wanted a little bit of crispness to the onions or the green pepper, you could just put them on raw. I really just wanted them sauteed down. It's just another element, and there's a lot of veggies here, but I did that on purpose. I mean, we're going to load this pizza up. This is going to be a fork and knife pizza. And I did find out that the mozzarella was not any good. It was all mushy, so I threw that out. So we're going to put the Munster and the provolone on it. You can put any cheese. I have shredded mozzarella in the refrigerator, but I'm just going to use this. This way it's getting used up. Now there's a million different pizza crusts out there, so use whatever one you like. This one said I could leave this paper on, but because it's just parchment paper. I need to look at it though. I want to see. Okay. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to cut off some of this. It said just to use this one. Otherwise, I would have cut another piece of parchment paper and put it in here. So there's that. The other thing is if we had decided last night to have the peppers and the onions on the sandwiches, I would have already had it cooked. I'm not going to use all of this, so now I'm going to come up with something else to use it for. I don't want to overdo the sauce, because I don't even know if I'm going to need all of peppers and onions and mushrooms, but there's still enough meat that my husband could have another sandwich or two. And I know he had a sandwich for lunch today. So that roast made it so we'd had quite a few meals off of it. So when you can get a roast like that for a decent price and then turn around and able to use it for a few different things, it really does make it worth the value. So we're just going to get this all spread out nice and even, and that'll be the first layer. So far I've got all the veggies, and we're just going to take this meat and we're going to shred it as we go. I'm still going to have enough meat left for more sandwiches tomorrow. There's no way we'll use all of this, which is absolutely fine. Now, I'm not pulling out the pepperoncinis. I did put those in here. I don't want pepperoncinis on my pizza. But this is, make sure you also leave an edge, just like you would on a normal pizza. This is just a real thin crusted one. My husband and I like a thin crust pizza, so if you like a thick crust, buy one. I actually like thick and thin. My husband prefers a thin crust. I grew up eating, we're in Indiana, but we're obviously south of Chicago, about 4-hour drive. And I like a double crusted pizza. The deep dish that they actually put 2 crusts on. Yeah, a little bit overkill on dough and bread, but oh, it is so good. We only have 1 or 2 restaurants here that do that, and Union Jack's, if you're from this area, they've got a location up in Westfield. We don't go to that one, but we used to go to the one in Broad Ripple, and it is so good. All right, just put as much meat on it as you want. It's like I said, I probably would have cooked 2 or 3 of those little steaks. Now I have preheated my oven to 425, but you're going to want to cook it as per the instructions on the crust that you use. So I'm going to spread out this cheese. I think I have enough to do it this way. Actually, I might not have to use both cheeses. We just might go with, use a little bit of the Munster. this up instead. But as I said, you could use whatever kind of cheese on this you want. I just wanted something that was going to melt. All right. I think it's 10 to 12 minutes, but as I said, cook per your instructions for your pizza. And here we go, all finished. And I just want you to see, nice and done. And we're just going to cut this up and eat this tonight. As I said, this is more of a knife and fork pizza, so I'm kind of cutting them in big pieces. I like to try different pizza crusts, and this was just one that I found, so I decided to... I'm still debating. I'm not going to cut them all up because I think I want to cut some of this in thirds, and my husband will probably look at me and go, why is it cut in such small pieces? So thanks for joining me tonight for a quick dinner that I used some of the stuff out of my refrigerator, and I had another use for that roast that I made yesterday.